let's set up a schedule when nobody's doing any work on machines or devices. Let's set up a schedule when there's less bandwidth being used by the entire floor of machines I want to collect from. Or let's do this when nobody needs any resources on the weekend, or you name the reason why you would want to set up an automated collection, but this just prevents me from having to sit there to kick it off. And maybe when I come back to work at whatever interval, Monday or whenever the collections are done, I don't have to do that part. I'm ready to go in my Explorer interface, and I can go dig through whatever data was collected. So let's have a look. I'm in the endpoint list right here. I've got Win 10 Pro online, which is a desktop in my office, AMDF 2024, which is a laptop here, and the phone from the other day actually is still online, the Google Pixel. So let's go to the schedules section, where, gosh, I've got some from a couple of ones from last year in 2024, a couple or three of them, then one from this year in March. Interesting. Don't know what I was doing, but let's make a new one. I'll create schedule, and we'll call this May 2025, and the description is, hello, super creative today. I'll add that. And we can see, look, the status is not ready. The condition is to run once today at 3:09 p.m. I got a description, the start time, the next launch. But let's look over here at the, not web demo, but the one we just made, May 2025, and look at some of the details, conditions, and options around this scheduled job before we even add any devices or endpoints to it. So from a detail perspective, look, the start time's 3:09, which is, an hour from now. The next launch is 3:09. So description is hello. Conditions are once, hourly, daily, weekly, or monthly. What frequency with which I want this to run. What settings, start date, I set that right there. And launch options. So if the task is already running or is in the queue, do I want to not add anything new? Do I want to add a new one to the queue? Do I want to stop the current one and start the one in the queue? So essentially take things over. Do I want to export the extraction automatically to the Explorer interface when I'm done, just like any collection we do? If the task fails, do I want to retry it every 30 seconds? What duration for my retries, and how many times do I want to retry it? I don't know, 5, 6, there's 6. And frankly, and it's funny, I did this, I think the very first time this feature became available and I was demoing it, I didn't realize that I had this box selected, stop the task if it runs longer than 30 minutes. So I kicked off these big jobs and was having a big conversation, and all my jobs stopped to look like they failed. I had to come back here and diagnose, they were all designed to turn off after 30 minutes. So for whatever reason, you can stop things after a given amount of time. I can apply that, and we have now modified the launch options of the May 2025 schedule. So our conditions are here, our details are here. You know what, when we finally get done with adding some endpoints to this schedule, we'll come back and modify the start time. Okay, endpoints. Let's add an endpoint. Well, which one do we want to add? In this case, I'll add Win 10 Pro and apply that. So look, I've got one endpoint set to collect with this automated job schedule. I can also do this by group. And by groups, I mean, well, let's actually go look at groups. I've got a green group and a red group. The green group has one endpoint, and that is Win 10 Pro. The red group has no endpoints. Let's add some endpoints to a red group just to illustrate the point. I'll click on Assign Endpoint, and I'll put in there AMDF 2024 and the Pixel and apply that. Ta-da! I've got 2 new red group endpoints assigned here. So a group is just a way for us to kind of delineate or segregate some items and then maybe inherit permissions like job scheduling or user access or things like that. So a red group and a green group, if I go back to schedules, I don't have to add an individual endpoint. I could add by group, right? Kind of like, no, the red one we like. Kind of like, let's run an IP address range for something. This is just another way to do that by group assignment. So I got 2 endpoints. Who knows what users? That's a different conversation, but I know those are in there. From a profile perspective, what job do we want to run in this automation? So add a profile, and this is just like when you create any profile, right? I think the other day I had my targeted Slack one. Master password test, target schedule. How about, there looks like a good one from before, scheduled workstations. Don't even know what's in that profile. Don't even care. We just want to see it kick off when it's supposed to against the machines, in this case, in the group we selected. So I'll apply the scheduled workstations task, and love it. I've got that profile assigned. I've got the red group with 2 endpoints assigned, and so in this case, I manually assigned Win10 Pro, and just to confirm, in our red group we have AMDF and Google, so I should have 3 different endpoints, all 3 of my active endpoints at this point, essentially, assigned to this May 2025 scheduled task. It is active. It has Win10 Pro by endpoint assignment. It has the red group, which has the AMDF machine and the Pixel, and the scheduled workstation profile. Oddly enough, this isn't going to do anything for the Pixel because it's a workstation profile. I would have to configure things a little differently, but let's see what happens. We'll just run that anyway. Conditions, as we said, it's a one-time thing. It starts at 3:09 p.m. My machine time is 2:14. Let's see if I can catch this at 2:15 p.m. Let me apply that really quick. Look down there at 2:14. Okay, so I'm just going to go to the endpoint list, and I'm going to watch for some action to happen here, starting with that Win10 Pro machine, because at 15 minutes past the hour, that scheduled job should kick off against all 3 of those endpoints. Here we go with the drum roll. Oh, no drum roll, but there goes one. Scheduled workstations kicking off against Win10 Pro. Let's check AMDF. Also kicked off against AMDF. Google. Yeah, that's a phone. A workstation profile is not going to work for that job or that device. Okay, I can deal with that. We knew that going in, but my 2 workstation endpoints did indeed kick off a job at 15 minutes past the hour based on my red group assignment and my individual assignment. It happens to be part of the green group, but if we go back and look at our job, we know that I assigned that by individual endpoint, the red group, the workstation profile, and off it went. That's what we're talking about. Set these up. Don't be there to kick them off. Come back after the fact when your work is done. Okay, catch you later.